Good morning, everybody. Today, I just thought I would talk a little bit about myself and why I have chosen Synergy Worldwide as my vehicle for business. So this is basically my why. Children were not designed for me. I had 4 miscarriages, and therefore, having had a good cup of coffee and a couple of whiskies with my GP, who's a great friend of ours, we decided that actually no, IVF wasn't going to be for me either, and therefore I would take on my 2- and 4-legged little people as my kids. So these are my present little menagerie, minus 2. We have Gossip, who is he's 8, and he is the master of silly faces, and is a comic of life. He's known as the overgrown Shetland farewell pony, as he's 17.2, many times bigger than a Shetland. And then the other horse in the center there is Zeb, who was given to me. He's an advanced dressage horse. He was given to me by my dearest friend, who has emigrated to New Zealand. So I'm very privileged to be given such a wonderful animal. I always wondered why I was never given a horse. So many people get given animals, and I never got given animals. And then I realized one day, about a month before we actually had the conversation, that I didn't want a horse because I had horses. I would only want to be given an advanced horse. And then a very chance, my friend rang up to tell me she was moving to New Zealand. And I said, "What are you doing with Zeb?" And that was the end of the conversation, basically. She's drifted elsewhere. And a few hours later, she rang back and said, "Annie, would you have Zeb?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll have him," thinking a day, a week, whatever it was going to be, till his quarantine was ready and etc., because we were in the middle of COVID. And no, she said, "For life." So that was quite a moment. And then my dogs. This is Rupert on the left, who's a very cheeky little 15-month-old, and Winnie, who is a very lippy young lady at 8. And obviously my goats and chickens, etc., that form part of us. My why is at the top of the picture, and the village is to the right. This is my family's home. I have spoken about it, but never so publicly. This is a federally listed building in Switzerland, and it is the only family Salis house that is open to the public. I wish it to remain there. It has been a very rocky road. We have nearly lost it a number of times. Sometimes that why seems so large that it is insurmountable. But I'm going to walk out of it, because that's what Keith recommended. And every time I think it is insurmountable, the rocks are too big to move, I just keep going back to Keith's words. You can walk out of that hole. Why try to climb? I don't want my nieces and nephews to inherit the mess that we made, that we inherited. And that's not for disrespect for my father. He did an amazing job. But I don't want them to have rusty pipes, electricity that is archaic. I want them to be able to enjoy the place for what it is, the wonderful, healing, beautiful place that it is. So that is my why. So where have I come from? This sentence that I read from Steve Bartlett at the weekend, and thanks to Tony for introducing me to this book, which I actually saw in the bookshop at the airport when I went to Barcelona for our Synergy conference on Friday, is so very true. Picture of the very proud person that had just passed out of Sandhurst was actually a picture of a completely broken body. How I passed out was sheer by willpower. I could hardly walk. It took me 20 minutes to get out of bed, let alone carry a 100-pound pack over cross-country courses with rifles, etc. Thankfully, someone met me in 1996. That was 1992 when I passed out. In 1996, I was running inverted commas, because one had to keep oneself fit. And a guy behind me said to me as we finished, "I want to see you in my office." His office being the third floor of a building which had no windows, no doors, and had cordon tape where there was a piece of the wall missing. And I thought, oh my God, what have I done now? For God's sake. Anyway, he turned out to be a part-time soldier, territorial army. And his real job was that of a Harley Street orthopedic doctor. And he said, "I was watching you running. It was fascinating." Now, to the words of the person in that body, I was like, great, brilliant. Now I can quite understand what he says. And it was that road he then recommended him to a friend of his, who then basically led me to the person you can see at the top of the picture, that is a person that now can do trail running. And that was 800 feet down and 800 feet up. And be fully active. Yes, it's not without keeping myself. I have to work every day at it. And who is the person that is instrumental in this? And this is my husband. He is a person that came with no animal experience, but is at the moment mucking out my horses. He is the person that never could swim. And when I said I was going to do triathlon, at the age of 58, he learned to swim. He is the person that builds everything from my stables or here to the puppy pen. He is the person that has been instrumental in changing that person who he met a few days after that photograph was taken. He first saw me, and to the person I now am. So I just thought I'd share that kind of thing with you, because that may explain some of the ins and outs that sometimes I have. That's a little bit about me and about why I chose Synergy. Synergy has been instrumental in that journey for me to be 90% pain-free and 90% active. The 10% being, yes, I have to mend myself every day to keep myself actually being able to do things, but it has been part of that journey. So that's why I chose Synergy, to partner that to my dream.